All right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling. Obviously, your favorite wrestling fan. I talk about action inside and outside of the ring. We talk about promotions from AEW to WWE to the GCW to the NWA to New Japan Professional Wrestling to CMLF. It makes major news headlines around the world of wrestling. We talk about it here on the show. So, yeah, make sure you tune in. It's pretty awesome. So, now we're going to talk about Tuesdays today in wrestling history. We're going to talk about some history. We're going to talk about bust out your history books, put on those thinking caps. And yeah, just remember once when you watch these, if you're obviously a little seasoned, a seasoned wrestling veteran, obviously you guys, if you know, you know. If you don't, then it's we're here to educate you. You know what I mean? Talk about some of the stuff we were hyped about back in the day. This was a little before my day, obviously. Back in 1981, Ric Flair defeated Dusty Rhodes in Kansas City, Missouri, to win his first ever NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Obviously, that would go on for him to become a 16-time wheeling and dealing, limousine riding, kiss stealing, son of a gun like the Nature Boy Ric Flair. This is just it kind of all started from here. This is when the success happened. This, was the reason why he can create a lot of iconic moments in NWA history. The Jim Crockett promotions that would become WCW, and his feud with Ricky Steamboat as well. All recreated because this moment that the NWA was like, you know what? Let's go and put the strap on this guy. He's gonna bring us to new heights. And so far, he's delivered 1,010%. Ric Flair is, definitely when you think about Ric Flair, you think about wrestling. When you think about wrestling, you think about Ric Flair. So I think that's cool. Obviously, his daughter, Charlotte Flair, is in the WWE. He had a son. I think his son wrestled in WCW a little bit. I think he did. Don't quote me on that. Obviously, one of them did pass away, and that, obviously, thoughts and prayers, condolences to the Ric Flair family. But, anyways, Ric Flair, was the first one to, win a championship. Uh, you know, Dusty Rhodes was kind of the, not, I don't want to say like the hottest thing since sliced bread, during the NWA at this time, but he was definitely a product brand name. Like he was, people loved him. He was the American dream. We thought about Dusty Rhodes. He's this guy that, worked at a 9 to 5 job and he'd come home, and have dinner with his family, kiss his kids and, sing Bible prayers at night and stuff like that. He was kind of this model guy and Ric Flair came along, this young, like I said, this young stud. And this started Ric Flair. Like it's, this is how it all started. And it was cool on this day, back in 1981. Back in 1881, damn, that would be crazy. Anyways, in 1986, at WWF Wrestling Challenge, at a taping, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan formed one of the history's most iconic wrestling commentator teams for the first time. Watching some of the old NWA, WWF stuff, you know, um, I used to watch Monsoon and Bobby the Brain. He didn't obviously, from wrestling fans, sometimes for me, like if I have trouble going to sleep, I'm playing, basically old school wrestling. I'm playing old school wrestling, all the stuff from the Attitude Era, from the Golden Era, also, and, maybe sometimes with like a Hulk Hogan and the whole Andre the Giant thing, which is actually pretty badass. I definitely like that. But right now I've actually been on this kick of who destroyed WCW, and I think I can honestly probably do a whole episode on just opinions about who destroyed WCW, but I don't know. Anyways, moving on. So obviously you think about iconic announce teams. For me, it was Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross. It was Michael Cole and Jim Ross. Michael Cole and Taz was cool. It was all right. Vince McMahon and Jim Ross, that was pretty cool. I liked Vince McMahon as a commentator. I got to be honest. When he was young, obviously before all the crazy stuff happened. Uh, back when he was good. I'm just kidding. No. No, he had a very iconic voice, and obviously he was still working. He was working for his dad under the promotion and stuff like that. But overall, the most important thing about professional wrestling is you need to have that voice that brings you basically dead center inside the ring. That's the reason why people love Jim Ross. That's the reason why people love Michael Cole right now. Joey Styles in ECW was good. Remember Mauro Ranallo. You could talk, and you could also relate to this if you're a UFC fan as well. Like Joe Rogan, be like, "Oh my God, he just got rocked!" Like it's iconic. It gets you. It gets you to stand up off your seat, and it gets you to like Joe Buck. And if it's not wrestling, you can think about sports, like in baseball, the World Series. When you'd hear Joe Bucks, now he's on Monday Night Football with Troy Aikman. Also, when you hear Al Michaels on Sunday Night Football with Peacock, but now he's on Prime Video. There's a lot of iconic, voices that just brings you into the action, and it's awesome. It's awesome. 1,010%. Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby the Brain Heenan did it, and yeah, they're one of the best to do it. In 1995, Asheville, North Carolina played host to a fall brawl headlined by the iconic WCW gimmick match WarGames. The team of Hulk Hogan, Sting, Lex Luger, and Macho Man Randy Savage. Damn, that is an all-star team for wrestling back then. That's crazy. Damn. Obviously defeated Dungeon of Doom, a team made up of Zodiac and Kamala. Mang also, Mang, what is that? Mang the Shark. Also, Luger was the last minute replacement for Vader, who had left WCW a week prior. On that undercard, you had the Harlem Heat defeat the Bunkhouse Buck and Dick Slater to win the WCW Tag Team Championships. I love myself some WCW, but staring at these guys across the ring, I bet the other team was kind of DOA the moment the match started. That's crazy. War Games, now it's part of WWE. That's crazy. All right, back in 2000, the final WCW Fall Brawl event, amassed from Buffalo, New York. A lackluster event was headlined by Booker T winning the WCW World Heavyweight Championship in a steel cage match against Kevin Nash. I remember, once when Booker T was in WCW, he was so good. He was so good. Eventually, it would kind of translate to WWE after they kind of trusted him a little bit, and they're like, you know what? Let's give this guy who's kind of stuck longer than all the other WCW guys after we buried him. Let's give him a chance. Let's give him a chance. 1,010%. So Kevin Nash as well. He was also a huge. He was basically a huge pillar inside of the WCW. Kind of made it what it was and why it was so popular. All right, so in 2001, a WWE Tag Team title change occurred on Monday Night Raw at the Gaylord Entertainment Center in Nashville, Tennessee. The Dudley Boyz snared the belts from Kane and The Undertaker, which is badass. I was a huge Dudley Boyz fan. I loved it. I love, my version of amazing tag team matches. Think of Dudley Boyz, Hardys, Edge, and Christian. I know it might sound cheesy, but obviously, hope a lot of you guys could relate to me. These two guys, whenever they're inside the ring, it was magic. The Dudley Death Drop and the Devon Get the Tables. They had catchphrases. They have so many marketable, abilities inside WWE, and they definitely lived up to the hype every single match they got. Obviously, if WWE creative was like, you know what, let's put these two behemoths, the Brothers of Destructions, let's put the belts on them. These guys are never, ever going to lose. And then they lost against two brothers of themselves. You know what I mean? Two brothers in arms, Devon Dudley and Bubba Ray Dudley, who were one of the, two of the best tag team superstars I've seen in my whole entire life. I love their chemistry inside the ring. Definitely really felt like these guys were brothers and they knew exactly what they were thinking. And that's the reason why WWE became, or WWF, I think it was WWF back in the day. And, obviously I know, but like during the 2020, 2001, when the iconic WrestleMania match was pretty badass. Man, these guys had a lot of good matches. A lot of good matches. I hated it once when, they decided to break them up. And then once when, I saw Bully Ray in TNA, I was like, dude, like it sucks. Come back to WWE. Before I was a TNA fan. Obviously, that was one of the big reasons why I jumped to TNA. Bully Ray was there. Also, Kurt Angle was kicking ass, Sting, the whole Jeff Jarrett thing, and Jim Cornette, um, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Chris Sabin. There was a lot of dudes back in that day, man. Damn it. What was it? Freaking 2007? I think it was. I think it was 2007. Yeah, 2007, man. These guys were I know it was crazy. 1,010%. TNA was rocking it, man. But all in all, the Dudley Boys was probably the best team to fight and to dethrone Kane and the Undertaker. So got to throw preps to my boys right there. All right, so oh, why is this acting all funky? Okay, here we go. In 2005, at Ring of Honor Glory by Honor for in Long Island, New York, Bryan Danielson returned to Ring of Honor after a months long of hiatus and defeated James Gibson for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Would love to go on and on about talking about how cool and how good Bryan Danielson is, but running out of time rapidly here, guys. I got 4 minutes to wrap this up. Let's. Oh, damn it! I would love to talk about a lot of these other things too, but it's time. It is time. In 2011, Ring of Honor hosted Death Before Dishonor 9 at Manhattan Center in New York City. The main event was a ladder match, in which the All Night Express, Ray Titus and Kenny King defeated Jay and Mark Briscoe to win a future Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship shot. Sorry, excuse me. Um, Mark Briscoe is one of my favorite wrestlers. I definitely love him. Definitely love watching him on the TV. Sad what happened to his brother. Obviously, thoughts and prayers to his brother as well. To his brother, to the family and stuff like that. So all right, in 2006, and I don't know why the graphic kind of did that, where it kind of ended up. Anyways, the WWE Unforgiven took place in Toronto, Canada. The main event saw John Cena defeating Edge to win the WWE Championship in the first one-on-one TLC match. It was also the only event that featured a TLC match and a Hell in a Cell match on the same card. In the Hell in a Cell, you saw Triple H, Shawn Michaels defeat Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, and their enforcer, The Big Show, in a handicap match, which was awesome, which is amazing. Definitely, those are my guys right there. D Generation X, they're on my Mount Rushmore of complete badasses in life, of complete awesome wrestlers and stuff like that. So gotta throw respects to my boys right there. So yeah. All right, guys, gotta wrap this up. Rapidly running out of time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Once again, follow us on Twitter/X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for more content and updates. And like I always say, if I haven't made you a wrestling fan by now, we have all other sports podcasts. So go ahead and check them out. Basketball, football, two football ones actually. We have it's all over, guys. It's all over the place. You know what I mean? The bunch of good dudes. Definitely, I love and respect them 1,010%. I learned from them from watching their shows. We got fantasy sports that I became a huge fan of. My boy Chris Shepard. Obviously, need help with my fantasy team because it's dying. It's dying. I'm just kidding. No, but no, actually, I'm sucking. It sucks. But moving on. So once again, thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. Like always, stay beautiful and love you.